Okay, so welcome to module 3, part 2. If you had any questions from yesterday, please address it and we can discuss it. No? Okay, cool. Right. Then let me share my slides and we go right into it. So I'm starting with, hang on, let me just bring you all up so I don't miss out on any of your lovely faces. Here we go. Here we go. Okay. So we are looking today at this wonderful poem from Rainer Maria Rilke. He's a very famous poet in Germany. And he was the favorite poet of Bert Hellinger. He was quoting him all the time. And he was doing actually readings, live readings, taped readings. He just loved his poems. And why is that? Because Rainer Maria Rilke is a poet, but very spiritual. So in what he says, he's highly spiritually advanced, and that has resonated very much with Bert Hellinger and with other people. And I love them too. Of course, he was German poet, but this translation is fine. It's English. And this one is what we really, you know, if this resonates with you, you are on the right path. Let me just read it out to you. If you have this love for what is humble and try, very simple, as someone who serves, to win the confidence of what seems poor, then everything will become easier for you, more coherent and somehow more reconciling, not in your conscious mind perhaps, which stays behind, astonished, but in your innermost awareness, awakeness, and knowledge. So, having that said, let's go into our teaching content. How to structure a workshop is what we're talking about today in part 2. We are looking at family constellation circles with friends and families and what that is and why we have this. We are designing a workshop. We are marketing a workshop. We are looking how to deal with queries. We are looking at family constellation workshops. And so the options you have, so one is in person or one would be online, right? So let's start with family constellation circles and with friends and family. What is this? Now, this is something that is invented by Bert and Sophie Hellinger, and it's called in Germany Bert Hellinger Freundeskreis. I have translated it, family constellation circles with friends and family. When you are training with Bert and Sophie Hellinger, they are very strict that you are not, you know, kind of shooting off and think you can do it all. But you have the tools and the environment to do your experiences first. Yeah, safe. And this is why they said if you have trained with them and you are serious in facilitating family constellations in your future, that you should definitely start with what he calls Freundeskreis. That is a circle of friends and family who are invited without charge to come on regular meetings that you lead, where you are practicing holding the space, connecting with the morphic field, leading a group, observation, and also practice family constellation. And why is this safe? Because they don't pay. And they know you are practicing. So everything can happen. Nobody can be upset or feels, you know, unfairly treated or anything. Anything. And because it is with friends and family. It is also light-hearted. Yeah, this is super important. If you start with this work and you are under stress, this is kind of completely in the way, right? To connect with the morphic field. When you are under stress, you can't connect, and then you are getting more under stress because you feel you are alone and you don't feel grounded and don't feel supported, and that leads to experiences that are not very nice, and that makes you give up. Yeah, and we don't want that. We want you to learn it and then experience it, and slowly but surely graduate into becoming a family constellation facilitator in the method of Bert Hellinger. Okay, so don't jump steps. This is an important step. Okay, so how would that look like? And from my own experience, that's exactly what I did. I mean, obviously, I would not have done anything that wasn't approved by it anyhow. So that's what I did when I was finished with my studies. I created this friendship circle in Zurich, where I lived at that time. And I invited people I knew that would like to come. I made a flyer, I invited them, and I had between, I don't know, I don't remember, 5 to 8 or so people together. And we met monthly. And this is how I started. And before I offered my service to somebody external and who paid for it, it was about 1.5 years after this. So it's just to give you an idea. And it worked very well, you know. So it's approved. It's approved. It's proved to be really a good way, you know, to start safely. Okay, so this is meant to spread also the love, right? To make family constellation known in your area. Because if you don't invite people for free and you try them and they can test it, it is really hard to get people to come because it is not very well known in your area. Be aware of that. It is even hard in Germany where it's very well known. So it's even harder when you are kind of in a blank, you know, blank canvas, kind of deserted area, like in New Zealand, for example. It's getting better, but you know, that was not known. So this is also to spread the love and make it known. You get a small group of enthusiasts together. They don't need to be always the same. They can bring friends. They don't need to commit. They come or they don't come. Of course, that should be all lighthearted. You invite to regular meetings. I'm recommending monthly meetings, but you know, if you can get your group together fortnightly, that's great, or weekly, even better. Like, you know, you go whatever you think you can do. You need a room. This should be indoors. I extremely recommend it to hold the energy and the space. This is not a work for outdoors, by the way. Did I ever mention that? It doesn't really work outdoors. It kind of, the energy goes too much wind, too much, you know, loss of energy. So it really doesn't work well outdoors. So you need a room. And obviously, because you offer your services for free, make sure you got a room for free as well, or really, really cheap, so you don't feel that you're investing a lot and you need your money back for some reason. You know, think of balance. It always needs to be balanced for you as well, right? These meetings have to be free of charge, but they can be social. So that can be potluck, you know, where you share. Do you have the term potluck anywhere outside of New Zealand as well? Yeah, where you share meals. Okay, so you can bring a potluck or drinks to share, non-alcoholic, of course. Make it fun and social. That's important. People want to have fun, no? It's not too, and it's good for you as well, because you're not, you know, you don't need to perform really. It's a circle of friends and family, and it's just that you are leading it and that you are kind of focusing people on family constellation, the method of Bert Hellinger, right? So you're not chit-chatting about whatever's going on in your life. This is what it's about, right? Everyone likes to learn something. So in this circles, it is not like a workshop, right? So forget about that. These circles are not workshops. And why, you will see when I continue with the slides. There's this distinct difference. So these are get-togethers, social and fun, but they are evolving around family constellation, the method of Bert Hellinger, and you are leading it. So you would bring a book, for example, and read out of this book, the Bert Hellinger book, for example. Read a couple of pages. Then you are open to discussion. What does that mean? Discuss it with everybody. Something like that. You can watch a video together. Like one of the free, YouTube videos that you can see, or maybe you can even purchase Bert Hellinger videos. I know you could do that 20 years ago. I don't know whether they are still available. They must be very old. Or VHS videos, but maybe this has all advanced and you can get that. I don't know. So this is the purpose of the get-together. To share any kind of topics around family constellation and method Bert Hellinger, other than conducting a workshop. Of course, you are training to lead the group. Yeah, don't underestimate this. This is an important skill. Yeah. So everything we said yesterday about leading the group, leading the client, leading the representative, in this case, leading the group, applies to these circles. I would suggest, so you can practice also facilitating family constellation, to offer one facilitation per meeting. So you would say, after you have read something, you have eaten, you have, you've done your social thing, you would say, okay, we have half an hour left. I'm happy to practice my facilitation skills. Is there anybody who, is bold enough to come forward and we have a go? And then most likely somebody will say yes. And then you practice it, right? Okay, so you go through the steps we've been through when we talked about workshops, only that it is only one constellation. And make sure you make it short, so you're not losing oversight. Yeah, make sure you are only working with 3 representatives, kind of mother, father, child, or mother, grandmother, or victim or perpetrator, or whatever comes up, and not like, you don't have that many representatives anyhow. No, because the circles are normally small, 5 to 5, 6, 7, 8 people when you're lucky, right? Get them together. And secondly, you don't want everybody in the constellation who's there, right? You also want people sitting, around and make it a circle. So these are all prerequisites or necessities to make this a success for you, and make it also interesting for your friends and family to come back. Yeah, because you want them to come back, of course. No. Invite you can also invite to the family constellation virtual workshops, because it doesn't matter where they are. If they are keen on experiencing a workshop, obviously that's an easy way to do that, right? And I will talk about that probably at another time, but I'm just designing an affiliate program that you can all take part in if you want to. So the goal is to practice how to set up a workshop situation and to lead a group. That's the goal of this circle, right? Including practicing your facilitation skills, but that's not the main purpose of it. And deepen your connection to the morphic field. Okay. Any questions? Yes, Rocio.
So I have a few friends that they did the facilitator training with you, Maya, and something that worked really well is to actually have work like these get-togethers, like for example with a theme, like deepening your connection with your mom or something like that. So it also helps like to keep it small and to not doing like huge constellations. It's just like, oh, I have these 3 exercises or 3 options that you can choose. So it's not like a huge thing.
That's
That they will bring.
wonderful. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
really, really nice. Exercises are great, right? Exercises are really, really great. So that's a good point. Thank you, Rocio, for sharing that. Any other questions? Okay, cool. Let's go ahead then. We are now talking about how to design a workshop. So when you have led a family constellation, friends and family circle for at least a year, so at least 12 or more meetings, you can start to design a family constellation workshop in your area, because you can trust that you have enough experience and skills to safely offer your service to foreigners or strangers or people you never met, who are expecting from you in return on investment, if you know what I mean. Yeah. Aim for 4 to 6 participants. You do not need to aim for like 10 or more. That's, just, it's not necessary, and it's really not easy. So just make, it's just nice if you have more, but you can do a family constellation workshop with 5 people. That is possible. Okay. Make it, if you have 5 people or 5 to 6, make it a half day, not a full day. That is the other advantage if you have a small group, because if you're just starting, it is really, really a lot work to hold the space and lead the group for a whole day. Yeah, much easier to hold it only for 3 hours. Yeah, or 4. Okay. So consider that you're designing a workshop that's probably just Saturday afternoon. And as of course, it's also just half the price. It's quite affordable for people as well. So that makes it also easier for people to sign up. So this is why, if you keep the cost low, don't go out there and give this is the difference between a circle and a workshop. If you feel you can offer your work, it's valuable enough that people get something out of it that they would like to pay for, that's when you start to do a workshop. And the remuneration needs to be adequate. Yeah. So just because you're a beginner, because of course you can't, take the prices that an experienced facilitator or trainer is taking, but also don't make it too cheap, right? It doesn't have the value then. You had to find your, your niche, Always think of the orders of love, the second order of love, in balancing of giving and taking. Third order of love, balancing of giving and taking. That applies to your work as well. If you wanted a success, put yourself out there, be humble, but be also realistic and fair to yourself and others. Outline the difference. So you would start, obviously, to do marketing for your workshop in your friends and family circle. This is why you have created, a group of enthusiasts now, and they would be keen to come to your workshop because they know you, they come regularly, and this is why you can't offer workshops in the circle, because then they get it for free. Why would they pay? So now you say, okay, I'm ready. I'm making my first workshop, half a day, the cost of blah, blah, blah. If the room is this and this. And then most likely, if they can come, most of your people will come to this workshop. So you have already your probably 6 participants, no? And you may get 2 more or not. It's okay, but it's a difference. Now it's a workshop setting, right? And everybody gets to have a constellation. Prepare a poster or a flyer with the details of your workshop, of course. This is always helpful, even if you know the people, because they can take it home. They can, put it in their workplace. It's not about getting participants to this particular event. It's to make this known in your area that you are providing workshops, right? It's not about the first workshop. It's not about the second. It's about persistency, you know, and use your friends and family circle to do the marketing for you. Because this is about getting your people in your area together and practice family constellation with you. And this, and they, if they had a good constellation, a good day, a good half day, then they would refer to their friends, obviously, right? This is how it goes. It's all word of mouth. Family constellation is this one thing where, you know, you don't look up in the yellow pages for. You just, nobody does this. It's all word of mouth, no? And this is also why it's so vital to have the family and the circle to start with, because you can rely on them, you know, as your buddies to make that happen. On this poster, talk about yourself, because it's not about facilitating a workshop in the method of Bert Hellinger, because that doesn't ring a bell to many people, but people know you, have heard of you, right? So it is about you are facilitating it, right? And this is why you should definitely talk about you on the flyer and not make it like a generic flyer. There is a family constellation workshop, da 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 da. It is you are facilitating it, and you write about yourself. Of course, you have to be honest. I mean, this is, of course, anyhow, a spiritual must. But it doesn't need to be long. It doesn't need to be da 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 da. But definitely talk about your training, your knowledge, and your experience in family constellation. And just be honest. If you have had 1 year of experience, then you write that down. You had 1 year of experience. You know, there's no point in you know, you can't. And not to talk about is also not good, because people want to know. So just try, and this is why the friendship circle is so paramount to start with, because before you offer workshop, because then you can say, because this is our experience time. So you can say, I have a year of experience, and I have had 12 meetings where, you know, I was leading a group. You can say all these things. If you haven't done that before, you kind of have nothing to talk about. You cannot just say, oh, I'm certified and now I start. And I say, yeah, so where have you worked? What, you know, what can you show us? No? So be sure that you have something to show. So so marketing workshop, word of mouth is the way to go in family constellation. There's absolutely no other way. That's what you need to do. There are some lists. I'm not quite sure. That depends on your country. Maybe I remember there was a list that Bert and Sophie Hellinger from the Hellinger School had started. I don't know actually where it is, because it doesn't apply to New Zealand, where I'm now. But anyhow, so I know there was a list, but this is very rare. You don't have that. Like, it's neither in the yellow pages, not there is a list, so the people have to hear about you somehow. Social media nowadays is awesome, of course, but again, there is so much going on in social media. What makes you outstanding there, right? Only personal reference. Only friends are reposting your post because they know it, they came to the circles, they love what you do, they want to support you. You know, these are the reasons, you know. Online marketing, I have not much experience with this. I don't use this tool very much. Maybe something you want to look in later, if that is worth it. Obviously, there's something you have to pay. So, you know, I had some, you know, Facebook, I don't know what this called, permanent, you know, posts up for, I think, half a year or so. I don't think it had made any difference. So I think it's probably a waste of money, but I don't know. Maybe not. Posters, great. Again, posters are great because you hang them up in your local area. You hang it in, you know, in the library and in places where you think people come, probably for yoga or meditation or anything that is concerned with, you know, personal growth. and spiritual improvement or emotional release. Yeah, these are great. That's great places to hang it. It's not much worth it hanging it up in a grocery store, I think. I think most people have no idea and they just pass. And also you can give the posters to your friends and family from your friendship circle, and they can hang it up where they are. So that's kind of spreading. Flyers is a small version of posters. Normally a flyer is like a third of a A4. A poster is a nice format. It's not so expensive to print and to design. It's easier to design, and you can hand it out like a business card, more or less, right? So I do like this kind of flyers. I think they're very practical, and you can hang them up as well. So it kind of fits all. And direct marketing, I have no experience with that. But again, this is something that if you want to try it out, you can definitely give it a go and discover it, as long as you keep your costs low. So you're not feeling like you have to earn more than you can actually realistically earn from it. Yeah. Dealing with query. Why we are talking about earning, I really want to make a remark here. I know very few people who can make a living out of facilitating only family constellation. Yeah. So keep your expectations realistic. This is something you do first and foremost for yourself. Secondly, for your family and your family system. Thirdly, for the people around you to help them. And fourthly, to earn money, or fifth, something like that, right? And if you have costs, you may need a website. You know how that is, yeah. You have costs, and if you can cover your costs in the first years, that's great. That's great. You know, you have to be realistic about that. And the best way is to if you so you can actually make a living out of it if you are already in a consulting business, and you can add it to what you already do. Now, this makes great sense, of course, right? And then it becomes part of your professional work, and maybe even a main part, or in the long runs. That would be great, yeah. So be realistic about that. And don't give up what you do at the moment, what you do for a living, and say, oh, I'm certified now, I am now quitting my job, and I'm now gonna facilitate family constellations. That's unfortunately not exactly how it works. Yeah. Okay. So dealing with queries. When you have queries from your workshop participants, first of all, you give them the necessary information, so the queries are minimal. Yeah. So in the workshop, poster, flyer, email, Facebook post, whatever you do, make sure all informations are in there. However, I know from long experience dealing with workshop participants, they sometimes don't read it, or they don't read it to the end, or they come to the end and forgot what was at the beginning, and they will start to ask questions which are already answered on the information. That's okay. From my personal experience, it is, when you're beginning, you're very enthusiastic and happy to help and happy to answer questions. If this becomes like, more of an organization, then this could be a little bit over the top, right? So somebody who is sending 3 or 4 emails about an event is often not coming. It's often nobody who really books it, right? They just want to be seen. They want you to be busy with them for free, but they don't want to sign up. So that's often. So you have to decide at one stage, okay, that's it. That's it with this person. If he is not booking now the workshop, I'm not going to answer any questions anymore. Payments, there's a very strict rule that Bert always says, payments always upfront. This is not a work that people can pay after, or or not pay for, because the balance of giving and taking is very important for the work. And obviously, participants of the workshop balancing your work out with their payment, right? That's the only way they can do it. And because there is unexpected, unexpected things can happen in a workshop. Clients can freak out, leave early, all of these things, right? You don't want to run after your money when this happens, right? So this is really important, and it's also a sign of respect for your work, for what you put in there, and to honor, to honor that is a sign that people pay before the event. And I mean really before, not at the door normally, right? Because only people who have paid are coming. Just rest assured, this is how the world works. Only people who have paid. If they say, I'm coming, they even sign you a form that if they haven't paid, you can't sell. You may sit there, nobody comes because nobody has paid and you have no workshop. Don't rely on these words or even written statements. They need to pay, and that need to be upfront, and then you know you have a workshop together. So dealings with uneasy customers, well, I mean, we all experience that in our own professional world, how that is. It will always happen, of course. No difference here. The only difference maybe is that when they understand your work and when you have conveyed that correctly, they're not expecting a certain outcome. So they can hardly complain, about their constellation or what has happened afterwards, right? So in order to make that clear, that is also something you can have like Q&A, or or you write a pamphlet or post or Facebook post about it or something like that. So your participants can read it up somewhere and rest assured that they know that we are going with the morphic field, and whatever we have to trust, whatever comes out is the one. It's what needs to come out. That's it, right? No, there's nobody lesser or better in a workshop, or nobody gets more, or it's not like a cake that you're sharing and some gets the bigger piece and the other the smaller piece. Even in workshops where you are not able to facilitate for each participant, the ones who don't get to have a constellation have the same, they got 100%, because they got exactly what the field had offered for them, right? And it is really important that you convey that to your people in the workshop. Now, on this note, I would like to also talk about this kind of idea or system or suggestion from some facilitator to have full payments of participants, that they promise a constellation and then kind of half the fee or something like that for what they call supporters, who come and are sitting in the circle and are representing. Whereas Sophie Hellinger were very strict on that's not going to happen. There is no two-class system. Everybody who is there has the same right, is the same, is invited by the field, gets out of whatever they need to. If they have a constellation, if they're representing or not, that doesn't matter. And it is true, it doesn't matter. And it does not work. Somebody comes, pays half the price, again, balancing, right? It's important for our work, pays half the price, is in this situation through his representation, he's clearing lots of stuff for his family system, right? And then he walks away and, got it all, but paid half. So what's the, what's the balance in that? That's really not beneficial for the work. Also, It is not good for you because it is possible that you are sitting in the workshop and through connecting with the morphic field, it would be right that this person has a constellation. Yeah, and that is very likely. Now, what are you doing? Are you saying, okay, you have to pay me now, you know, the other whatever $50 so you can have your constellation? Or do you give him a constellation and not knowing if you ever get your money for that? You know, this is a very odd, awkward situation, and it does not work. I did try it because, you know, some people are continuously saying, I don't want a constellation, I just want to, I can't afford it, I just want to, and then you give in, and it's not going to work. It's just not worth, it's not worth the hassle. So there's a workshop, that is the participation fee, and you do not need to promise everybody a constellation. Make it clear. Not everyone is equal there, and what happens, happens. And if they really want a constellation, you can always say, okay, in the next workshop that I'm doing, make sure you come first. No, that's possible. You have to start with somebody. Why not with the, if she came again, if he or she comes again? That's great. So you can do that. Right? Cancellations. This is also something that you need to be aware of. You always have this one or even two persons who are very eager to come, and then they may even start to travel and they got stuck, they have an accident, or they have a flat tire, or their train is not going, or whatnot, yeah? Or they get sick. A lot of participants get really sick and feel they need to stay in bed. Now, this is very typical, especially for people who come for the first to their first constellation, because there's a resistance to go into this deep emotional healing for themselves and for the family system. And you know how you create your own reality. You're familiar with that, right? That, you know, what you put out there, that is gonna happen actually. So unconsciously or subconsciously, they are creating these events that prevent them from coming. Now, if they call you and say, look, I couldn't come to your workshop, please send me the money back, what are you doing? You have to say, no, you haven't, you should have come, you know? And you got what you need to have. It's kind of a constellation in itself when they have this experience, which they have created for themselves, or maybe the family system created for themselves. So what I would do is I would offer a kind of a short conversation about it to open their eyes about how this event, you know, has maybe already shifted something in them, right? So that's probably the maximum I would, but never pay the money back because they got what they needed. Yeah. Different it is, of course, if you are canceling because some technical reasons or COVID stuff or whatnot. That's of course difficult. I would always recommend to give a refund, the money, or, you know, postpone the event or something like that. Other than that, other than these two cases, it is good if you have a cancellation policy for people who are canceling, let's say 2 weeks in advance or 4 weeks in advance. You know, there's, you know, cancellation, would you pay back 50% or 80%, or, you know, up to you, but just think about it and have something ready to deal with if this happens. Because what you want is you want the participants to pay as early as possible, so you know as early as possible if you have a workshop together, right? And of course things can happen, and they are not on the day, which is obviously field guided. But if like 2 weeks before something has happened and the date doesn't suit anymore, that would be okay, I think, or fair to, you know, pay something back. Okay, so where are we? Okay, we're having our exercise now. So that's fun. What we do is We are creating a family constellation, friends and family event. Okay. So you are working in groups of 2. Let's see if this. Oh yeah, everybody's with us. So that works actually today. So we have 3 groups of 2. You are working together in the breakout room. You are designing together an invitation for the friendship circle, right? Not the workshop. Think about everything we said about the friendship circle. Right? This free event where you not conducting mainly family constellations, where you are really inviting people to come into the field, talking about Bert Hellinger's Orders of Love, watching videos, reading books, having potlucks, whatever. Make it fun and social, but make it all around family constellations, Bert Hellinger, and you leading the group, right? And that's it. So you design that, you 2 together. So you have to come up with one. I had one group where they couldn't decide, and then they suggested 2 different. But I don't want you to do that. I want you to compromise and find a mutual invitation. Yeah, create a mutual invitation. Then, so you can do that on Canvas or wherever. You have enough time to do something, to design something. Canva, I mean, not Canvas, or whatever, or Pages, or whatever you use. Or if you don't use technology, just do some handwriting to share. Then I would like you to write the opening speech of your friendship circle. What would you say when at your first event, now you have your group together, what would you say? You are leading the event, you have to say something, right? So what would that be? So think about that and write that down. And again, you 2, the group should come up with one mutually agreed upon speech. Yeah. Whatever time you have, it doesn't need to be long. You don't need to write it all down. You can also just, do some words and then you held the speech for us. That doesn't. You don't need to write the whole thing down. You understand? Just that you know what you're talking about, and then you share. So we are all then the group that you are talking to. Okay, and you also decide who's talking. Right? Who does this? Okay, right. I have said 15 minutes, but it has been proven that's not long enough. So we do 20 minutes. So you have 20 minutes to do that. Okay. And is there anything else? Nope, that's it. I'm gonna stop sharing here and create the rooms. So we have 3 rooms. Oh, hang on, I give you the option. Let's go back there. I give you the option to create it for yourself. There's another option where it says, you choose. Okay. All right. So now I hope you can see that. You just need to choose with whom you want to go together. And then I let the timer run for the 20 minutes. Ale, you go with Rocio.
I don't have the option to choose.
Yeah, you have to go assign to, and then you go in room 2 to Rocio.
And what is the option?
I do that for you.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, that was fast.
Yeah, the fastest 20 minutes ever.
Yes, 20 minutes. What, really? I didn't even blink my eyes.
But were you able to complete the task?
Yep. Yeah, kinda.
Cool.
Yeah, we too like yeah, kind of like the speech, but anyway, yeah, we'll see what comes out.
Yeah, we talked about it, but we didn't write it
Write
down.
it down.
Yes. But I
Okay,
think we
that's
got
fine.
bullet points.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. You can just freely talk. Okay, hello back. So I heard already some comments that it was fun and the time was too short as always. So now I'm very eager to see what you have created. So who wants to start? So you can share, if you have something on your computer, you can share that. Let me just make sure that the function is on. Yeah, share screen. Yep, that's all on. So, okay, so who wants to start? Well, we all, you all have a go, so it really doesn't matter. Claudia?
Well, as we said, actually, Julie does the flyer and I'm doing the speech. So we're sharing the, who is talking. So shall we start with the flyer or with the speech?
What's a flyer?
Yeah. Julie, your turn.
Okay. We couldn't work out how to share our screen when we were in the thing, so we've just sort of typed it up. So is it okay if I just read it? So, okay, so we've got, do you have the perfect family? Question mark. Me neither. Come and try a family constellation to heal those challenging relationships and move into more peace and love. And then we've got the time, the date, where, and contact details. So it's just simple.
Right. So if I were to read that, I would not know if it's for free, if it's a workshop, if I would not know anything about that.
So cost, we've missed out. Yep. Yeah. It's a free workshop.
It's not a workshop. We're talking about the
workshop, free gathering.
gathering. Okay.
Gathering and a potluck dinner was what we were saying. Bring.
Yeah.
Sorry,
So how would you put that in your invitation?
We put join a group of what will we have? Something like join a small gathering, casual small gathering, and bring something to share to eat.
Yeah.
Something like
Something like that. Yeah. And then probably we will talk about a family constellation, the method of Bert Hellinger, or the orders of love of Bert Hellinger, and how that heals family wounds. Something like that, maybe.
Yeah.
To make them interested and free of charge. Something like that. Okay, cool. And then how would you do your opening?
My opening, I would actually say thank you very much for everyone for coming. I would also say, because people know me, I'm a bit of a rough diamond, I would say, oh, thank you so much for being my guinea pigs to help me to actually support my journey with the family constellation training I just did, and just to help me to get comfortable in group settings and to try out what I've learned. Probably for the very first meeting, I would suggest that we maybe watch a video about morphic fields, because it's very hard to explain what exactly it is. So I would actually play a video about that, and we will, and then after, first we will have something to eat, a bit of a talk, and, and then I would actually put that video on. And after that, I would actually say, would you like to share what that video did to you? Did you understand it? What did you get out of it? And then just, talk about it in general, and and then, just laugh and have a few drinks before people go home. And for the next time, I probably would say, let's watch a very easy family constellation with Bert Hellinger, so people get an idea. Because what I've learned is, if you try to explain it, in words, it's very hard for people to understand what you're talking about. Showing it helps so much better. Yeah, so that's what I would do.
Very good.
So
Yeah,
Julie and I
definitely.
came up with that together, that we actually would do that, something like that.
Yeah, sounds lovely. That's really, this is why you do it, because you can talk and talk, but if people is not experiencing it by watching it or doing it, they
Hmm.
never get it. It's
Yeah.
just nothing you can do.
No, yeah,
Yeah, well, it applies to us all, right? When we have first of all heard about it.
yeah,
Same, right?
exactly.
Okay, that's great. Thanks for sharing, Julie and Claudia.
Thank-
So next group, who wants to have a go? Abby and Mana?
Sure.
Okay.
So I'll just share my screen then
Mhm.
of the flyer whilst Mana will share the speech.
Good.
Okay, so
Ah,
this
nice.
is the invitation. So I'll just explain the invitation and then Mana, you do the speech, yeah? Okay, so Mana and I came up with this idea of having a thematic invitation to this gathering, and we thought that the best is to just pick a generic topic like healing your family wounds.
Wonderful.
You
Yes.
know, where we're improving your parents' relationship, things like that. But just to give it a little bit of a description, it's an introduction to family constellation. So are you interested in understanding a method that can heal your family and improve your relationships? Join our monthly circle where we explore the method of family constellation by Bert Hellinger in a potluck gathering of family and friends. So cook your favorite family recipe and let's have a meal and heal together is the title there. So we have the date, Monday, 27th December. She picked my birthday. And we'll be doing it like tea time, 4 to 7 p.m. We picked a destination in between both our countries, which is the Maldives, and it's made it up like, yeah, please come, Hope Wellness Center. And it'll be bring your own food and drinks, and there's an RSVP there by a certain date to the email, and free event as well. It's pretty big.
So that is really, really well thought through. I think it's amazing to have a picture of the food on there, because it's very inviting, right? And it's people are always interested in food. So
Yes, not intimidating. I'll come for the food, you know.
suggest to have a plant-based picture up there, but other than that. And then I also like to that you have the free event in the corner. That's great, because you see it immediately, but and it's not disturbing your you know your little explanation there. Heal your family wounds. Very nice. Everybody needs to heal the family wound, and everything is on there. Yeah, fantastic. Very happy with that, and it looks gorgeous. The colors,
Thank you.
very inviting.
Thank you to PowerPoint, Microsoft PowerPoint template. So,
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Technology always helps.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. Okay.
I'll
Awesome.
pass it to Mana then for the
Mhm.
speech. or-
Sure. So I created like a short speech. Can I read that out?
You can read it out. You can speak freely, whatever you want.
Okay, so I just like wrote it down because it's the first time. So it would be, hi everyone, welcome to the work of Family Constellation. This is a very sacred and very beautiful work developed by Bert Hellinger, who is a German psychotherapist and dedicated almost 40 years of his life to this work. This is a modality through which we explore how the traumas of our parents, grandparents, and even great-grandparents can live on in our unexplained depressions, anxiety, relationship challenges, phobias, obsessive thoughts, and physical symptoms. And there is a reason that the matrix that plays a very important role in uncovering these traumas. And you will see it as we go along today. The matrix has drawn all of us together here. And no two constellation meetups are ever alike because every group dynamic is different. So let's explore what today has for us to understand and heal us, break our inherited family patterns. And we hope you can join us in our monthly meetup to deepen this practice and heal our personal patterns collectively.
That's very beautiful. So you have talked a very, very how can I say it, in depth about the method of family constellation, which is nice. You might also want to add about the meeting itself, how how you see the meeting, to go. Right, like saying, okay, so we always sharing food, and we are watching a video, or we are reading something, and discuss, and we might demonstrate. And always make sure people coming not with the expectation that this is a workshop. That's really
Right.
important, because if you only talk about family constellation, that's what Bert Hellinger did, workshops. So if they start to read about that, and they expect a workshop when instead of the gathering. So no, make sure that you convey that.
Sure.
Okay, very good. That's lovely. Okay, thank you too. And now we have Horacio and Ale.
Okay, I'm going to be doing the talking. So we were having a chat with Ale about how to actually structure it. And we don't have PowerPoint, so I have it in here. But the first thing was to actually find an image that it will actually show like the different like generations, like the girls did. Like, for example, I've seen one that it's like the grandmother, the mother, and the child, and they're all like hugging together. So I would choose something like that. Then we decided to actually send an email or a Facebook event to our close friends, and it has to be like a close event, so it can like actually spread out. And then the wording will be, hi Fano, my name is Rocio, and I have recently finished my family constellations facilitation training, and it's time to practice and share this healing modality with my close friends and loved ones in a safe and friendly space for everybody. My intention is to spread this valuable healing modality created by Bert Hellinger and passed on to me by Maya from Family Constellations Virtual, by Family Constellations Virtual. We will be meeting regularly in the last Saturday of the month in the community hall address, blah, 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 from 3 to 6. Please bring some healthy food and non-alcoholic drinks to share. These family constellation circles are free of charge, so you can join them and experience a new way of healing your life and family system. So that will be the invitation.
That's lovely, Rocio. That's really, really great. So I think you really have covered everything in there. And it sounds really inviting, and yeah, I really like it.
Yeah, thank you. We thought about putting like, do you want to heal? I personally don't like when they said like, do you have any traumas? Do you have blah, blah, blah that you want to release? Because we didn't want to create that expectation. Because it's just what it's going to happen. And then, so what we decided is to actually structure each one of the circles, focusing in one theme in each one of them, which we didn't want to set the expectation in the invitation, because it may come during that day that it will be about the mom, the mother, or the father. So the speech will be, hi, my name is Rocio, and I got exposed to this healing worship, this healing modality like 3 years ago, and it's been a life-changing experience for me. In this workshop today, you're going to be experiencing what a family constellation workshop looks like, and I will be leading it. Today, we're going to be focusing on the relationship with the mother, and we will read what the mother brings to us in this life, and what it means, and the importance of having a healthy relationship. And then that was about it. But I always like how you express that it's really hard to explain what it is, but the only thing that you have to do is nothing during the workshop. And it's explain that there are going to be representatives and someone someone being in the hot chair, and then the sharing food part that, especially for South Americans, are very important.
Very important.
So yeah, that's how we decided to structure it. Instead of actually just having like an open, like a circle of just bring your problem, it was more about having it a little bit contained and explain what each member of the family brings into your life and how important it is.
This is excellent from multiple reasons. So first of all, yes, it's interesting for the others as well, because every time they come, they know they learn something new. Secondly, for you, it is great because you're going to repeat what you have learned by talking about it, and you have to prepare for the meeting by reading about it again. So you are deepening your knowledge about the mother, the father, the partnership, the ancestors, blah, 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 every month because you prepare for the event. So you have as much out of it as the participants, right? So I think I like that a lot, this idea. And then you share some original words of Bert Hellinger because nobody can make it better, which is awesome because then they have that vibrates with the participants, which is also great. And if you read something about the mother in this meeting or the next meeting about the father, then you're already on the right frequency vibrating. And also you invite your teachers in, so to speak. This is always good for support.
Yeah, that was Alice's idea, actually. She said it's good to actually mention your teachers in everything that you do. So that's why we included you as well.
Yeah. I mean, not about me, but yeah, I agree. I do that. I do the same. Yeah, with my teachers. I think it's very important. Awesome. So Ale, that's all in your, that's all. Do you want to add something to it? Or do you let Rocio do the work?
Hi. Well, it's not that I'm letting Rocio to do the work. It's just that she really reflected what we agreed together. Yeah. So we also had kind of practical discussions on how to structure along the year. Because in my experience, well, I live in a very family town, so we also agreed to do to structure it in school terms activities, because when I used to teach yoga, I learned that that is the way how most of the people in this town structure their activities. So offer like by term, first term and second term, and that's how kind of a continuity.
Yeah, good idea. Yes.
Yes. So I think that Rocio did great. I wrote down everything that we talked here, and I think that everything is already said. And actually, it's been really nice to work it out together, and makes me feel more confident. Yes.
That's wonderful. That's what I want you to. That's what I wanted to achieve with this exercise for you. That you have an idea how to start, because that's exactly how you start with creating this kind of poster and group event. Okay, any questions regarding this now that you heard what the others have done? Is there anything else that comes up? Something you want to share, or questions or new ideas even? Oh, good. Okay, so then we go in the break. It's 3 minutes to whatever, half or full of the hour. Ale, yeah?
Yes, I just remember a question that I had before the exercise is what about, because there are some like women's centers and community centers here, and what about to offer kind of one of kind of talking, like to broaden it up to the wider community? When I don't know, when I feel confident enough to, like, more almost like a volunteering work, like, I don't know, once a month or something like that, and open talking in different community halls or centers.
That is great, Ale, but remember, just with talking, nobody really understands it. So this is why you have the circles where they have a direct experience of the work in some form. There will be one demonstration, or there will be you know, one constellation even. Like this is kind of integral part of the circle meetings. So when you have a free talk, then it would be kind of a marketing instrument to invite them to your circles. So you would say to this group of women or the community where you are, you would have a talk, just an hour or something, and then you would talk about actually a little bit about family constellation and Bert Hellinger and your training, and then you would say, and here is, you know, I offer you to come to a meeting, this is free, bring food, and then you can discover this method for yourself.
Okay.
Right. So it is not it's not substituting the circle, but it's a great addition. It's like a marketing for the circle, if you will.
Okay. Yeah, because also eventually more circles can open depending on according with the interest of the community.
Yeah. Definitely.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, great. Okie dokie. Right, so it's half now, half is 7:30 here. So 10 minutes, and I see you back. Bye. Let's continue. Continue with this quote from Bert Hellinger. Hang on, just need to take that off. You don't have to be complete at the beginning. You just place yourself on the path and you will be led along by the field. Like an acorn grows into a giant oak tree without knowing all the details, how to do it. It just starts at the bottom and takes it from there. Yeah? This is a safe and exciting way to go into work with Bert Hellinger's Orders of Love. And learn to trust the field, and that every challenge that is given to you is something you can actually take on. Nobody gets tasks too big. Yeah? Especially if you follow the humble path and come from the position of serving. Okay? So, setting up the room. Now we are talking about the workshops and how. So now we have talked about the marketing and how to design a workshop, and now we're actually talking about the day of the workshop. What are you doing? So first of all is you're setting up a room. Then you have a chair for each participant plus 2 chairs. One is for you and one is the hot chair, which is now we know on what side?
The right side.
Right side.
The right side. Yes. Okay. So there will be an empty chair. Okay. You have to decide where to put these 2 chairs. So when you come to a new room, you are taking in the energy of the room and find out where is the strongest energy. And that is where you place the 2 chairs. Now, it is very helpful to follow some old ancient rules about energy flow. For example, Feng Shui, yeah, or others that you might know of, in order to detect where is the highest energy. Yeah. And it's also fun to look up some concepts and some YouTube videos about that, and then apply that in the room that you have found for your first workshop. Why is this? Why do you want the highest energy there? Well, obviously you need all the help you can get, right? And when the energy is high, you're already halfway there. When the energy is low, you have to raise it first yourself, right? So that's really, really, really important. Also, it helps you staying in your leader boots when you have the highest energy in the room. By the way, you have to have the highest energy in the room anyhow at every given moment, right? Otherwise, your leadership is in jeopardy. You have to be always aware that you have the highest energy of all. So you want to pick a place where you sit, where the energy is supporting you. There are lots of rules, and obviously this is not a Feng Shui course, but what I really like to obey or look out for is that I have at least all elements in my room. I think that's very helpful to raise the energy, and also make sure the energy is in the room and not going out. This is why you don't do it outdoors. And also try to avoid open windows, and this of course in hot summer, and so you have to be reasonable. But it is good to have enclosed rooms. It is also good to have windowless rooms. You don't need windows in your in family constellation workshops. I was fortunate in Zurich that I had a room, an event room. A friend of mine had built a little center in my area, and that was that had no windows. It was kind of a basement kind of situation, but a lovely room, all cladded in wood, and it was really great. No distractions. It was really great. And then in the break, you go out and wander around and get some fresh air. So I liked it. I think that's good. But you take what you can. You can always close curtains or blinds or hang some colorful fabric in front of windows or something like that. So to make it enclosed as possible. So we have this 5 elements: wood, fire, water, earth, and metal. And if you think about it, often wood element is already there, either the floor or the walls or the window frames or the chairs, or something is out of wood normally. You don't need to think about that hard. Fire is easy. You always have a candle burning. I always have a peace candle burning in my workshops, which are close to where you are, right? Remember, you want to sit where the energy is the highest, right? This is where you burn, also where you have maybe candle burning. Water, obviously you need water. You need to drink water. Your participants need to drink water. So that is not difficult. That would be present. Earth is, you can have a salt lamp or a rock or flowers in your room, or something that is representing the earth element. And then metal normally is also in the room available. Metal chairs, for example, or metal fittings in the door or something. Then there's nothing. You bring like a Shiva or whatever you want, made out of brass or little something that can represent the element of metal. So you have already the room balanced. You have invited all the elements in, and this is already, setting you up for success. What else do we have? The room should be tidy. Now you think, yeah, of course the room needs to be tidy, but if you go in a yoga studio, for example, you might be surprised how much props are lying around, stacked up against the wall, and there's a corner with stuff, and then there are some Pilates things, and you look at it, and there's a lot of distraction in the room all of a sudden. So tidying up means you take all these distractions away and put it somewhere, behind a curtain or in the corridor or hallway or in the kitchen or wherever you can find it. You don't want these things in the room. Because they're really destructive to the work. The work needs a really tidy, clean environment. No clutter. That's really not good for the work. Very destructive. The floor is super clean because, as you know, we are lying, sitting, kneeling. Yeah. So the floor needs to be clean. If this is filthy or there's a dirty carpet with full of stains or it's not swept, nobody wants to lie down there, obviously, and you can't expect that from your participants. So have an eye on that. This is also why you can't allow shoes in your room. No, not to make it dirty, right? So that's another thing. They need to keep the shoes out of the room. Question is, if you have the choice, carpet or hardwood or linoleum or something like that, obviously a carpet, especially if it's clean or new, it's the best choice because it's the most comfortable one to lay on or to kneel on, but it's not a must. You know, if you have a hardwood floor and people find it hard to kneel, you can offer blankets to kneel on or a bolster to kneel on. Or if a representative has to lie down and is representing somebody dead, you can offer a blanket to lie on or a yoga mat or something. So you can make it work. So you definitely don't need to make that like the criteria for choosing the room. You need blankets and pillows on your chairs, because if you have a half-day workshop and, more important, a full-day workshop, this can be really uncomfortable to sit on the chair, and you don't want your participants to wander around or being restless because they can't sit anymore. So a little bit of comfort is okay, yeah. And especially if it's cold in colder areas, then you might have a cold floor. It really helps to have like a bolster for the feet, because they have to keep their shoes off, so they are there in socks. And if they can put their feet on a bolster or pillow, that keeps them really warm and comfortable. Yeah. So these are the little things that really goes a long way. Also, by the way, these props you might need in your constellation, because sometimes you're running out of participants, or you want to represent like a battlefield where lots of deaths are. Like in Germany, we had that all the time with 2 world wars. We had that all the time, that we all of a sudden ending up in gigantic situations with war and stuff. And then you run out of participants if you don't have 500 like Bert Hellinger, you run out. So what do you use? You can use bolsters, you can use pillows, right? So it's really good to have props. For this. And also sometimes I like to cover somebody who has passed on with a blanket to allow the representatives of this family who are suffering this trauma to bury this body. So this is really, really good to have like a full-size blanket there anyhow. So yeah, make sure you have some props there. So these are what I meant with extra items that are handy to use in a constellation, right? That would be like an example for extra items. Essentials are tissues. Tissues. There is always a lot of crying. Rosie was laughing. So always a lot of crying, and you want that. You really want that. That's the great release of emotions and trauma. So support that with tissues. Have tissue boxes, but discreet, so like I like to have like 3 tissue boxes. 2 are under the chairs of the participants, and 1 is next to me, between me and the client, for example. So I can hand the tissue to the client, and during the constellation, somebody can hand tissues to the representatives who's sitting there and is near a tissue box. So tissues. Water, of course, is also very important. Always stay hydrated. You stay hydrated. That's very important. Don't forget to drink water, because you might nervous or excited about your first workshops, and you forget all these things, and you get a light headache. Right? And that is really destructive. So you need to stay hydrated. So use every break between constellation to take a really good sip of water. Also, suggest to your participants to bring their own water bottle so they stay hydrated too. Of course, you can provide water, but I like to ask them to bring their own refillable water bottles, so I'm not dealing with any litter in this event. So structure the workshop with opening. So that would be an invitation to introduce the participants, yourself, family constellation, a la Bert Hellinger, maybe do some games, or use essential oils, or do a guided meditation. Anything that brings the group together. And this is that's a fun part. You can be very creative. Just make sure you are not overstepping your time frame. So you're designating, let's say, 20 minutes or half an hour of the workshop for the opening. And when you design your opening games and everything else, practice it. Make sure you're not exceeding that, because you need, time goes fast when you have fun, as you know, but you want the majority of the time for constellations. Yeah. So I have a couple of examples. For example, I like to, depends on which room and where, but I like to get the participants when they come off, not to their seats, but into a circle, sitting on the floor, on cushions, on a rug, and have some candles there, or flowers or something, and offer something there. For example, that could be cards, or it could be essential oils, and then everybody can pick intuitively one. And then if it's an essential oil, for example, then you can you can all inhale your picked oil, and then there would be a book to read up what the oil stands for briefly. So then every participant has kind of connected with the field already and has a topic to think about and may work on, that is preparing them for the constellation, because essential oils are also connected to emotions, and you can read that up, and that's a very good opening. Or you have tarot cards or angel cards or whatever you like, I mean whatever you like, or crystals or whatever you're into, and bring them, and let everybody choose one, and have a little bit of a say about it. That's really, really nice. Also, introduction, there are also fun games for introduction. So you can, of course, go normal and say, okay, everybody here, start here, go in the circle, say something about yourself. That's one thing. But there's also something fun, which I like to do, and I like to share that with you, because it's also nice to introduce somebody else you have never met before. So you would like, I would, for example, instead of asking every one of you, like, Rocio, talk about yourself, Alessandra, Mana, Julie, Abby, and Claudia, I would say, Claudia, please introduce Abby to us. And then it's so fun, because no, it's you don't need to do that. But you get the picture. So then it's okay. And then Claudia has to connect with Abby, just visually, and then into her field. And then I say, here's Abby. And then you would think about something that comes to your mind, like, she's interested in family constellation. She wants to look at an aspect in her life. You make it up, but you will be amazed how accurate it is, because you're already connecting with the field. So something comes out of your mouth that is actually correct, right? And then this is a big laugh, A, and B, you already, practicing your participants to connect with the field. So that's a game that's really fun. And another fun game is that the participants can choose their different names. So for the sake of this day, for this workshop, they are somebody else, because the persona doesn't matter anyhow. They are here to represent, right? Or connect with their family system. It's not about their personality. So they might as well choose another name, maybe a name they always wanted, or maybe a character, or a famous actor, or whatever, somebody they really always wanted. And you can have name tags and write it on, and then they are these for the day, right? So that's another. And then they have to share in the round why they picked this name, Oh, there are so many. I mean, could talk about that all day. So make it fun, have your opening, but stick to the time frame. Really, really important. So then is the main part of your workshop is, of course, family constellations. And as we'd already talked about that, you have the choice to, let people raise their hand, and then you pick or you just pick one without raising hands, right? Or you make even a list, your first and your second, your third. So up to you. Whatever you decide, it will be right. We always trust in the field. The beginning of the constellation is, before anything else, you explain the rules. There's rules, right? You have to play with the rules. So what are these rules? In order to have order, not chaos. So first of all, I didn't, where are the rules? I think they are coming somewhere. So let's go to my charts first. Then ask the participants who wants to constellate, and then aim for, of course, when you start, that's what you do. You normally aim for a constellation for each participant. It's not to be expected that you have a huge number of participants, and it should be easy to go through. If you have 5, 6 participants, you can do that in half a day. If you have 10 or 12 participants, you can do that in a day, right? You can always expand. So I would aim for that. But however, they don't have to have a constellation. So if they come for a constellation, they sit there and they choose not to, that's fine. That's nowhere, they don't have to. Then you have break times. If it's a half day, you probably have one break in between for refreshments. If it's a full day, you definitely have a lunch break and maybe 2 smaller breaks for toileting or stretching legs or having a snack. So whatever you do, announce the breaks and stick to them more or less. It is really important for your leader skills that you can stick to the breaks. Yeah, that shows that you are in control of the event. Yeah. So, and also the expectations of the participants, they know you announce the breaks and they are ready. The whole system is ready for a cookie or to go to the toilet. And when you're exceeding the time, they are starting to get nervous. Yeah, that's normal. So it's a good sign of professionality if you can stick to your announced times. Yeah. Then you have, after all of this, you have the closing sequence that can be long or short. Maybe depends also how much time is left. So I would recommend that you are preparing for a longer version and a shorter version. So be prepared if there is like a good time left because you went through all the constellations and you have half an hour left, that you actually can fill this half hour with something valuable. Or if you are constellating until the last minute and you only have 5 minutes left, then you are still able to complete a closing in 5 minutes. Yeah, so prepare for both. What is the closing about? It is to bring everything together, to round the day or the half day up, to integrate the healing, and to talk about where to go from here. That's the purpose of a closing. So here comes the rules. I knew I had it somewhere. So these are the rules that you announce before you go into the constellation. The facilitator is the only one talking, meaning in the constellations, right? Not in the breaks, not when you have Q&A, but when there is a family constellation, which starts with a participant getting up and coming onto the hot chair. That's how it starts. This is when the clock ticks and everybody is quiet. Only the facilitator talks, or the person the facilitator asks to talk, aka the client or a representative. The representatives ask for permission to talk. That's important. We talked about that often, but it is really important. I don't want you to miss it out. They ask you for permission to talk. And you can set a rule. You can say, if you want to talk when you're in a representative role, raise your hand. That's the best. Raise your hand. Or if you want to talk or look at me or give me signals or something. But I think hand raising is probably the easiest way to deal with that. And then the representative, I repeat that from yesterday, has to talk only to you as a facilitator what they think they want to say, and then you are suggesting the words of power. You're translating what they want to say into the language of family constellation, right? Which is like another language. So you make sure that it has power, the power to heal, to move the souls. So you can also say to the participants, that's also a little exercise for them to focus on saying one word. So they want to say a sentence like, oh, I really want to apologize and ask for forgiveness. I really feel bad about it. I think I have done something really horrible. That's what they say to you. And then you need to find one word for it, right? You can also ask, look, you find the word you want to say, and then if really have to focus, they probably want to say please, and then you don't have to suggest anything. That's great. And you also know what dynamic you have, so it's really, really good to ask the representative to focus on one word. But often they can't, so you have to do it for them, right? Sometimes they just can't. They can also, so you ask them what they want to say, what emotions they have, or what kind of feeling resonates, you know, with them. What are they observing, perceiving in any way, shape, or form? Sometimes it's a smell. Actually, they smell something, or you know, it could be anything. Any of the senses could be involved in this. Often they feel something on the right arm, the left arm, behind, on top. Right. So this is all the clues you get for the representative. Then the fourth rule is all movements have to be in slow motion. We talked about that a lot, but again, they have to be in slow motion. Yeah. You cannot accept not even normal walking. It needs to be slow, slower than normal walking, let alone running, right? Or if they feel this drag down when they, right, then ask them to really feel into it. So they go into their knees, and it is sometimes painful to see the representatives. It's like a workout, how they slowly go, you know, and go small and small until they decide they really want to lay down. But that's the right thing to do. That's the right thing to do. They see as if they. So now I explain to you. They could say to you, they stand. You ask them, how do you feel? And they said, I think I want to lay down. Now you can say, okay, lay down, and then they would just lay down. That's okay, but it has not the same effect as if they would really take the time and follow the movement of laying down. That's a different thing. And by following the movement of laying down, they are so much more connected to the field that once they lay down, they already know who they are and can tell so much more. Instead of just, okay, lay down, and then they lay down, and then so now what, right? So these are all the movements of the soul that you want. You want the movement, you don't want the result. The fifth rule is no chit chat on the chairs or in the room. So even if somebody is not representing, they cannot talk to each other or make comments or ask or whatnot. No, they have to be quiet. It's really important. No leaving the room during a constellation. You announce it as a rule. That's a sixth rule. By the way, you can also write the rules down. I would probably do that and pin it up onto a wall or the door of your room so they can read it. And if the good thing is if somebody is disobeying the rule, you can say, look at our rules. You have to stop doing that, or I have to, you know, relieve you for this constellation, and you have to go out and stretch your legs. Because if it's in written, it's, you know, like the 10 commandments carved in, what was it, rock, or I don't remember, has another effect than just verbally transmitted. No eating or drinking other than from the water bottle outside of breaks is also important because it is a distraction. And if somebody feels hungry during a family constellation, they are not connected to the field. Nobody is hungry or feels a craving during constellation when they are connected with the field. Right? And also the people who are sitting on the chair are part of the constellation. I cannot emphasize that enough, right? So if they would eat or drink, that would just show that they have zoomed out. They are not part of it. So make that clear. Of course, it's a distraction too, and it's very disrespectful anyhow. So it's a no-no. But you know, there are also reasons why the family. Then, especially going towards the end of the day, people getting very comfortable in the group, with the room, with everything. They may have a consolation, they may have a great relief, and they're kind of slipping from their chairs onto the floor and lying on the floor and making themselves comfortable with cushions and blankets and little nests and stuff, right? Now, as cute that is, it is really not a good idea, because the energy is dropping significantly when people going into this laid back or relaxed state, and also they lose the connection to the field as well. So if they are slipping from the chairs, that might be okay if they're still sitting on the floor. But if they start to lie down, then you have to ask them to sit up again, right? So you can make it a rule, a written rule, or you can, announce it when needed. So that were the 8 rules that I think were the most important ones that are guaranteeing you a flourishing workshop, undestructive workshop. So now when the workshop is over, what can you do? First of all, you want to invite everybody to your circles, because you want to keep that going, obviously, because that's a great source of feedback, of multiplier, right? They are multiplying for you, they're spreading the word for you, and you still in need of practicing. So you practice as much as you can. So the friendship circle is not only something for the first year. You continue as long as you can. It's absolute, and why not? This is what you love. You love to talk, and you do family constellations. So that's a great event anyhow. So I would keep that going as long as you have a group. Offer a special gift to comebacks, or create a refer program. That's always a good idea as a post event marketing tool. So think about what you can offer, what that could be. Create maybe a WhatsApp or a Facebook group with the participants to keep in touch, especially if you know they made friends there or something, because then you can also use the group to remind them of your other events or future workshops or your friendship circles or whatever you do. And then after the workshop is over. So after the workshop, you are not discussing with anybody a constellation. Remember that you are disrupting the movement of the soul. If you feel the need to explain something, it could be part of the constellation. So when the client is in the constellation came to the peak, you say, okay, that's it. You relieve the representatives, and the client comes back to the chair, to the hot chair. It's still the constellation, right? Still going on. So if then you want to talk to your client about something that is really important to understand, you can do that briefly. That's part. But then when you send the client away and the client goes back to its seat, the constellation is over and you're not talking about it anymore. Because now the time starts where actually the constellation becomes manifesting in the next hours to months, right? And it's you are not allowed to disrupt that with talking it over. You can also suggest to your participants not to talk about it. Bert Hellinger did that. He said, don't talk about your constellations. They was very strict with that. I cannot really 100% subscribe to that. I did not find it a problem for somebody to share it with his partner at home. the constellation, I think that's totally fine. I definitely would recommend it, not write a Facebook post about it, or, you know, or you have to wait until the movement comes to a finish, and you know, to make it, you know, to really talk about that more broadly to more people. But to completely keep quiet can be very challenging to your participants, because they can be very excited about what has happened in the workshop, and to keep their mouths completely sealed, you know, that could be a lot of strain on the person, and you might not want that. So I think if they choose a near friend or family member to talk about that, fine. But you can, that's also part, you know, in the closing, you can say that, what you would recommend them to do. Or they may ask you. Everybody in any workshop that is not necessarily family constellation, every workshop, everybody wants to take a little bit home, you know. And you know, you sometimes in yoga workshops, you got this goodie bags that you get, or in other workshops or something. And that's the same here. If there's anything to give your participants to do at home, great. So maybe you can come up with a little routine they can do at home. A little bit of something to connect with their ancestors, or to give gratitude to their mother or their father, or to themselves, or whatnot, you know, you know, whatever. So, or a little gift, if that is something you want to do, to give them a little gift of appreciation, and that reminds them of you and of the event and of themselves and the group. That's good. So think about it if you want to. You can always offer, oh, why is this not coming up? Hang on, let me see. Oh yeah, you can always direct them also to, you know, the meditation that is on our website, which connects them to the ancestors when you don't want to come up with your own meditation, right? They can download that there. Ask for feedback. Now is the time to ask for feedback, right? Because once they left, and they're a week at home, they have forgotten about it, and life takes over, you know, and they might, you know, don't find the time to give you feedback. And in the first years, you really need the feedback to know where you are heading, right? So it gives you a great sense of achievement or direction if you know where you are at, when you get a bit of feedback from your participants. You can also make a feedback sheet that they have to fill out before they leave, if you have enough time for that, right? That would be also nice. Or this MailChimp survey or something in the day after is another a good way to get feedback from your participants. Now we're talking about the online workshop. First of all, I want to say you need to be really, really confident and experienced to lead online workshops, right? But that's not easy. You don't have the full body language. You don't have access to the representatives. They can turn off their video and they are gone, and you have no idea what they're doing. That can freak you out, right? Because you don't have, you know, the experience and the self-assurance. If you're working with somebody and this somebody's in great distress, right? And all of a sudden, and they just turn the video off and they are gone. And then you might think, oh my God, what are they doing now, right? That can put you really off. So really be very careful with that. It's much easier if you have them in the room, because then you can work with them. But if they turn the video off, that's it. You know, you have no access anymore, right? So that is really, really, really important. And it's also much more difficult to hold the stage when the participants are not present. That's the other thing, right? So you need a lot of group experience, group leading experience, a lot of family constellation experience before you can really offer valuable online workshops. And that's what I just talked about. It can really, really distract you and maybe stop you working forever if you can't sleep because you don't know what this guy or girl is doing when they just leave your online workshop in distress. Yeah. When you are doing an online workshop, you need obviously the technology to do so. So you have a computer, a good camera, a good microphone, headphones. That's all very important. The light needs to be right. You have a nice backdrop. Everything of these things, which we are nowadays more familiar than we were years ago, because we have to do a lot online, and Zoom is in everybody's on everybody's desktop, more or less, right? Internet connection needs to be stable, of course. If you have, there's always, that's the other thing with online workshops. Even if you have a good internet, it could always be a problem with it. You can have a computer problem, you can have an internet problem, blah blah blah. And then you have participants who have paid, and you know, how do you deal with this, right? So it is really a lot more stressful, and you need to put a lot more thoughts in it if you do that online. You have to do that, eliminate potential distractions. That is not only noise cancelling software is the solution, but you are going to need software working where you know you are not so versed, and distraction is actually not that they can hear it, that you are distracted. And then if you are distracted while you are leading facilitating a family constellation, you might, you know, lose your connection to the field, and you get lost and don't know what to do, and all of a sudden this makes you quit as well. So be aware of that. Yeah, if you do online workshops, I really have discovered the professional noise reduction software that you have to pay for, unfortunately, but they are really good. The ones you get for free, they don't do much, right? On Zoom and stuff, they don't really cancel out the background noises. The light is probably, well, obviously the voice, and your light is the most important thing. So make sure you have a good light, and find a way that if you wear glasses, that your eyes are still be seen. So there will be reflections, but you can have angle in your lights, in your screen, or also in your different glasses, so that your eyes can still be seen, because the people connecting to you only through the eyes, right? This is how you lead. You still lead a group, and you do that only with your voice and your eyes. You must imagine that, right? You have no other tools. A few words on backdrops. Nowadays, so first of all, a backdrop is what you see behind your face, right? So in my case, it's my space that you see. That's I don't have a green screen, and I don't have a blur. I don't like that. I have set up my workplace in the corner of my room where I have a nice backdrop. There's also the possibility to have a blurred background, but that means also that your outlines are blurred, right? And sometimes when you turn your head, then your glasses are gone, or your hair is gone, because it's cut out by the software. That's really tricky. And although that's okay if your participants have that, it's not okay if you have that, because it's really distracting when you are, you know, you want to lead, you want to be clear, you want to be there. So I would not recommend a green screen or blur, as long as you don't have a green screen backdrop. Now that's a different game, right? If you want to go all that way, you can do that. You can get a green screen like the people who are doing movies have. You can have a green screen behind you, and then put on the green screen function and choose a backdrop that you like. That's a different thing. Then your outlines are sharp. So that's a word on the technology. When you set up, when you did your setup and you have your backdrop, and had a couple of goes, you did some improvements, and it all works for you, keep it, right? Keep it. Stay in the same room, use the same software, use the same headphones, keep it. It is good for you because you know how to deal when problems arise, and it's great for recurrent participants because nothing gives more trust than something they have seen before, right? It gives, if you change your backdrop all the time, this is not, gaining trust. It might not distract it, but it definitely not helps, right? So keep what you have, what works for you. When you are, we're talking about our one-on-one sessions in module 5. And once we have done that, you will understand why I say here, follow the structure of an in-person workshop as much as possible online, right? So when you have everything what is different is in person, the only thing that is similar online is that you are, you know, directing or getting the clues from representatives. And that's the same online, very much as if you work one-on-one when you have figurines, right? Because the representatives are, if you only, you know, see the faces and you have to ask them, it is not so visual if you see the full body language, right? Obviously. So this will all come together, I would say, after module 5 and make a whole thing for you. Remember, your work is built on trust. So make sure you don't lose it. Once you lose it, you don't get it back, right? So privacy rules are a big part of trust, right? If you say so and so and so, then it is that's what it is. Never talk about a family, let's say that. Never talk about a constellation to others and mention names. Ever. Other, then it's a circle already, of course, right? When everybody knows each other, that's fine. But not in an open workshop, right? You never do that. When you talk about a constellation, you are not mentioning any names. You can talk about a constellation, but never mention names. Never record anything and use it without permission. Right? Very, very important. And the word always, you know, the word is so small, everything goes around. It always comes back. That's just what it is. So, one-on-one session, go through that. But I would just want to mention here that while you are setting up your circle, your friendship circle, and then later integrating open workshops, it is also parallel to it great if you start practicing family constellation, facilitating in one-on-one sessions when you have already a professional business in the consulting area. So let's say you are a family therapist, right? And you do that in years. So now you can integrate what you have learned right away into your counseling. Because you always have your other tools to fall back to. You could have done a family therapy before without family constellation. Now you can add it. And if you get lost at something, you just do what you did before, right? So you are not losing the client. You don't look unprofessional. It's a very safe way. When you don't have that, and this is the first time that you are actually doing counseling, don't do it, right? Do your circles first. You need to gain more experience, and you need also to gain more self-confidence to do that. Yeah. Of course, you can always practice with friends and family and free. That's another thing, right? Details in module 5. Okay, so let's make a time check. Yay, we have the time for our second exercise today. That's great. So what do you think this is going to be? Leading a workshop. That's what we do today. So I want you to discuss with your partner what is your greatest fear and what is your greatest joy when you think about facilitating a family constellation workshop. Be honest, you discuss it with your partner. If you don't know it, you will find out together. You work in groups of 2 but I will assign you so you don't, I hope I remember you have different partners this time. Or I let you choose different partners. So what's what I do? You know who partner you have. So I make again, I let you choose the partner and then you choose somebody else, yeah, that you haven't had in the first exercise. You discuss these 2 questions with your partner. And it's okay, you take the time to discuss your fears in general, right? It does not need to be related with a workshop. Then you are asking yourself to have a reality. Meaning, have you ever had a situation and it went so wrong that now that it is repeating when you do a workshop, when you meditate, or it's fear that comes up without based in reality? Yeah, that's really a very important difference between that. Did you get that? Understood? Yeah. If not, ask me. I'm happy to dwell on that more longer. Yes.
Yes, please, if you could repeat the last point, because I couldn't hear your voice. It was kind of breaking out.
Ah, was it? It's not my.
Now, yes, again, it's happening. Yes.
Oh, was it all the time?
Some just a couple of times before wasn't major. Now I couldn't understand the point.
Oh, that's really bizarre. And normally it works really well. Okay, so when you think about what you fear, it could be something that has happened to you, right? And now you're fearing it repeats itself. Okay? When you are starting to facilitate workshops, the other option is that you fearing something, but in fact, when you're honest with yourself, you have not experienced that before. So that is the other possibility, that the fear is not based in reality, it's mind-made. Yeah. So I want you to discuss with your partner and find out, yeah, what quality this fear has, right? Because that is an importance. Then I want you, and write that down, right? So you don't forget it in your notebook. And then discuss with your partner what makes you joyful. What is it, where you really feel joyful? And then think about a workshop and what or which situation or why or when would you feel this joyful when you are participating in a family constellation. Okay. All right. Questions? Ale?
Yes, it's a technical question. I don't know how to choose somebody or know when I be chosen, because last time you had to put me in the room. I don't know how to do it
There's
by
a window
myself.
that comes up that says assigning and joining, and then you have to click on that. But I can do that for you. You don't need to worry.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, because the last time didn't appear the window.
Okay, no worries. So we have a total about 25 minutes. We want to discuss the results of what your exercise is. So I would give you 10 minutes. Is that okay? Yeah? All right. Let me open up the breakout rooms. And yeah, oh, that's good. I still have them, so I just have to move them. Oh, how do I do that?
Go back to what you know, Maya. Go back to what you know.
Okay. Okay, I start again. So let me just quickly remind me who was with whom. Ali, you were with?
She was with me.
Yeah,
Ali
with
was
Rosie.
you. Okay. That's so funny. Let me start anew. The name's not coming up here. Okay. So okay. So Rocio was with. Okay.
Rocio was with me.
With Ali. And Claudia was with.
Julie.
Okay, I think I got it. Okay, I let the timer run 10 minutes. See you soon.
Hello. You're breaking up, Maya. Yeah, maybe it's the mic. Could be the mic.
No, it's not the
Or is
mic. I
it-
just checked.
Ah, there you go. That's good.
We have a raging storm here that
Oh.
developed an hour ago, and it's horrific. And my signal is going is point-to-point Wi-Fi over the hill,
Okay.
and I think that the weather is disrupting the internet at the moment.
Mm.
But it should be fine to continue, I hope. Yeah. So, okay, just let me know when you can't hear me and I repeat, yeah? Okay, so how was this exercise for you guys? Insightful?
Yes, it was insightful, but also nice to be able to talk about it. It's always nice to have a feedback, and yes.
Wonderful. Do you want to start to share, Ale?
Oh yes, of course. Should I talk about about my fears or her fears?
Yours. Yours.
Well, I didn't write them down, but I have them. So Claudia, if I space out, just let me know. Well, my fears are based in recent experience. I used to have for 30 years, I had I was a massage therapist and yoga teacher, but because my health problems 3 years ago, I lost my business. And I lost my clients, I lost everything, and I have physical injuries that don't let me really get up and teach again. And that I'm still grieving that I lost, because it was something I really enjoyed. That is one fear. The other is that is connected is that my health, because one of the symptoms that I have that they still strong is social anxiety. Which when I mean, I've been holding a space freely for women's circles and things like that, and it's been, I think, very nice, and I've had a good feedback, but then still it's a fear that my health get on the way of my passion. Actually, this is the most thing. And the third is that I feel like I'm transitioning on the place that I might move from Nelson. I'm not sure yet, but I feel like I'm in a transition process. That hopefully everything falls on the place, and trust that everything will fall on the place by the time that I'm ready to open circles of family constellations and get it more professionally. And the joy is mainly being on service. To me, the service on healing is, I feel it like a deep soul purpose. And I see that it's very necessary today for us to find a way as a humanity to live in a better way in the planet and between amongst us. So being of service is already a big joy. And having positive feedback, of course, will be a great joy.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. That was lovely to hear from you.
Thank you.
You say who's next, Ale.
Well, I could talk with my partner this time, which was Claudia.
Claudia, your turn.
My biggest fear, I think, is because I'm part Italian and I have got a very loud, strong, bearing voice. So a lot of, and when I get excited or something is very dear to me, my voice gets automatically louder. And a lot of people are getting really intimidated by it. I think this is something I have to really work on for not like scaring people away. But I explain, usually I say, look, I'm part Italian. My voice, when I'm getting excited or I'm very passionate, it becomes louder and louder and louder. Please don't feel intimidated. But I also have to have a look if I can do something about it for quieting that down, and it doesn't actually happen. And the other thing is when I'm doing something completely new and I'm not yet, when I'm still trying to figure my way out, that I might lose my words, or suddenly it's like, oh, I can't remember what word I wanted to say. So that is the main thing. And what brings me joy is being of service. If you have facilitated a workshop and people come in maybe tense at the beginning and then they go out like, you know, relaxed. And I think that's the best picture or the best thing where it would bring a smile on my face. Yeah.
Very good. Thank you for sharing. So Claudia, just thinking about, you know, how you can, that's a very easy way how you can conquer your first fear, which is being overwhelming or intimidating to your participants, is by realizing that you are not there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You, Claudia, you are leaving when you are facilitating.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so ideally your voice when you are facilitating is completely different anyhow.
All right, cool.
Maybe a voice you have never heard before.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, right. So so then you just need to you know, control your excitement in the opening or the closing or in between, but not when you're facilitating. That should be looking after itself.
Yeah, cool. Thank you.
Thanks for sharing. Okay, you name the next one.
Mana.
Thanks, Claudia. So my issue is, like I was sharing with Rocio, I talk too fast as a person, even here in India. So for people to understand me, they have to tell me, slow down. And I feel like I talk at the speed of my thoughts, which is too quick. So I get nervous about, because I know I have to be slower, but the minute I slow down, I feel like my brain goes slow and I blank out. So I'm afraid how, you know, that I may just blank and go free, you know, I may freeze when I have to conduct a constellation. And especially here, because we're in an international forum, so the added pressure is, do they understand my accent? So for me, I'm going too fast. Maybe my accent is ununderstandable. So it just gives me a lot of anxiety. So that's my fear. And my joy is I feel completely aligned with constellation work. I feel like I'm truly meant to do this. So it's truly my pleasure and joy. So that's me.
Wonderful, Ma. So that's great. Thank you for sharing. And everything I said to Claudia applies for you as well. You don't need to be worried about your personal appearance when you're facilitating constellations, because ideally you are not there. And you will see, you will talk much slower, you know, happening naturally because you're connecting to the field and you are not so much mana there than the helper of the family system. That's a different role.
That's
And
encouraging.
just to assure you, I think knowing Indian accents, you have very little accent for my taste. So I think that's not a thing at all.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mana. Okay, you pronounce the next one, please. Announce.
Julie comes to me.
Thank you, Mana. I agree. Your accent is very good to listen
Thank you.
to. My greatest fear is just not knowing what to say or the next step, feeling like I'm going to disconnect from the field. I've had that in my other work as well. And I was talking with Avi and I was talking about my childhood as well, always thinking that I'm going to say the wrong thing or something. There's something there. So I might need to do a constellation on that.
Maybe, here we go.
The other thing, my greatest joy is when people just have that relief, you know, when you have that healing or you have that relief, and it's really somatic and physical almost. I know experiencing that myself is so amazing, and just seeing that in other people, I think, is just a joy that, you know, that they've come to some level of peace within them. So that's, yeah, my greatest joy.
Wonderful. Thank you, Julie. And I think, yes, you're right. That's probably worth a family constellation. And maybe you have time at the next practice workshop or in the open workshop with you.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh, who's next? Julie?
Rocio.
Rocio.
So my biggest fear is actually breaking someone and not finding the path of healing for them during the constellation. So like not finding the right words, or and maybe like trusting like the process that whatever happens is the right thing. So I guess it's not finding the path of the healing needs to take. That's what it's my biggest fear. And what brings me joy is like what I love about constellations is how you feel the sense of connection with other people and how we can all help each other heal. And the visual, like it's for me, constellations are very visual. So I'm a very visual person, so I like that of seeing what is going on. So yeah, for me, it's every time that I'm in a constellation, I'm always amazed about something. So I just love them. And what Julie was saying is like seeing someone with that side that, oh, this is gone. It's amazing as well.
Yeah, thank you, Rocio. So you're talking about this fear of, how did you say, losing connection, or what? How did you say that? The fear of
not being able to find the path of the healing.
Yeah. That's natural. I mean, of course, but this is only a fear when you are not quite there yet to fully embrace the fact that you are also not doing anything. Right? You don't need to find the path. Understand that, right? That's not, nobody sits there and asks you to find a path. You are just connecting to the field and following with your toolkit, you know, what is obviously in front of you. So this is a fear that is mind-made. You will, I assure you, not experience that once you do it, you know. So yeah, just contemplate on that and reassure yourself that when you know, when the right time has come, you will be in the right place, you know, with the right people, and everything will, you will be led to facilitate a family constellation that is exactly doing what it's meant to do.
Thank you, Maya.
Thank you for sharing, Theo. Okay, last one.
Oh, who's the last one? I'm sorry.
Me.
Abby.
Yay. Yeah, so I think similar to Claudia and Rocio, very, very similar. I worry that my personality will come through and I enter my mind and it's like trying to remember the toolkit, right? But also being in the flow. So it's very like I don't know how to explain it. Like it's like the toolkit is like a boxy feeling of what's the right words, rather me than you, or like, you know, all these technical things. Well, there's another part of me that totally can go with the flow, but it'll just be like kind of like channeling. So it's trying to balance that two parts of me. Yeah, so I guess I just have to trust what everyone's sharing, that, you know, just, and practice also helps until it becomes intuitive.
That's it. Yeah, definitely the practice.
So that you don't jump into the mind space to try to remember what are those words, right? Because you just know it. Yeah, so that's something that's revealed here. And the joy is, I was sharing to Julie, it's like I love it when something that we do that's so unseen and like what they call woo-woo, you know, is actually heals people. So it's like as if like when I was younger, it's like, you know, when people said no, Santa Claus doesn't exist, and you're like, oh, it exists. So like family constellation and all these methods that of healing, which are not so tangible like medicine, when it heals, you know, and that's the magic of it. And it makes me believe in magic and faith and all that. Yeah, that's what brings me joy to see that.
Lovely. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, that's very lovely. Just quickly on the point of being afraid to not use the toolkit, but channeling, right? This is exactly what you said as practice. It's practice. You when you start to do that in the circles with friends, you know, you're practicing, you see the difference. It feels different, right? It feels different. So you know you have to, you know what you know. It's like if you write, you know, if you write an exam, for example, we all are of some sorts a little bit nervous about, you know, being examined. Or writing an exam, being assessed. But when you start, you are kind of, if you know, you're just in the flow, you just do it, right? And you're succeeding, and you got whatever you got the paper, right? And this you need to put in front of you when you do this work for the first times, that you have already achieved things, that you have feared as much as this at one stage in your life. And remember, once you do it and you go through it, it is losing its grip, its fear, right? So this is why practice is obviously the most important part to overcome these fears. You have to always go through the fear.
It's like driving a car, you know, when you first drive a car, you have to know which one to press, where's the gear. But once you know how to drive a car, you just go and drive wherever you want to drive, right? But the beginning of like...
And enjoy the surrounds while the 100 thousands or 10,000 kilometers you're driving, just nervous and you can't see.
Yeah, you don't know what's the brake and what's the hand clutch. And, you know, it's like that. Yeah.
It's exactly like that. It's not different. So yeah, think about that. Okay, wonderful. Wow, we are super on time. If you have any questions, keep it for tomorrow and ask it at the beginning when we are fresh and not tired and don't want to go. So I close it here for today. Remember, in New Zealand, we are winding the clock an hour forward. So trust the Google Calendar. That will give you your local starting time tomorrow, which would be most likely an hour earlier than normal, right? Are you coming, Abby, next tomorrow as well, or just
Yeah, that's my last class.
Yeah. Okay, so check that, right? It would be an hour earlier, I think. Okay. Right. Awesome. You have a good day, a restful night, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Maya.
Bye. Thanks, Maya.
Thank you.